Bank on it. Brought to you by commercial bank member FDIC. Life made better. Nico Iamaleava miscalculated. I don't think that was an obvious, or I don't think that was a hard one to say, but Nico Iamaleava miscalculated in more ways than one. Nico Iamaleava, having hit the transfer portal, is now looking at a few schools. Per Brad Crawford of 247 Sports, the schools in line to land Nico Iamaleava are the UCLA Bruins, the USC Trojans, the North Carolina Tar Heels, the Maryland Terrapins, and the Oregon Ducks. So, UCLA has quarterback Joey Aguilar, who they signed from Appalachian State, and they gave him a pretty lucrative NIL contract. Nico would be a bigger splash, but they just had Joey Aguilar go throughout the spring, and they seem pretty high on him. It'd be tough for them to then open the checkbook for Nico Iamaleava. Now, Lincoln Riley and USC have added a UNLV transfer, Jaden Mavia, and they seem to be going with him. But, well, he was UNLV transfer last year. And then they added a highly touted freshman, Husan Longstreet. Now, Nico would probably... USC's his best chance for a plug-and-play guy. And Lincoln Riley but the problem is, Lincoln Riley does actually run a similar system to Josh Heupel. By the way, that's what Nico Iamaleava should have looked at, if you think about it, on why it shouldn't have not developed him for the NFL. Lincoln Riley turned out like 3 first number 1 draft picks, and they all weren't developed for the NFL. If he picked Lincoln Riley, then TJ Houshmandzadeh would be caught completely lying about the whole Nico wanting Tennessee to establish pro-style concepts. Lincoln Riley doesn't do that either. Quarterbacks there are coached to see just one side of the field as well. Bill Belichick and UNC. Look, does anybody really think Bill Belichick would ever negotiate with the family like Nico Iamaleava's family? I mean, come on, guys. That's not happening. There's talk about him potentially going to Maryland. Mike Locksley had trouble last year after losing Talia Tagovailoa. He had Malik Washington and Justin Martin, a UCLA transfer, on this team. Pep Hamilton is a former NFL offensive coordinator who did well with Andrew Luck for a while. Maybe Nico believes he could be developed for the NFL under Mike Locksley. And then the most obvious one is Oregon, given the fact that they tampered with Oregon. However, you wonder, after they signed Dante Moore and Dan Lanning snitched on Nico Iamaleava, you wonder if they're actually going to pick Oregon. So that's kind of a tricky one. I'm going to set up this poll question real quick just for a little fun, but where will Nico Iamaleava land? Where do you think Nico Iamaleava will land? And we're going to say USC, UCLA, UNC, somewhere else. But I also want to say, while we have that debate, no matter where he goes, Nico Iamaleava miscalculated. Bank on it. Nico Iamaleava miscalculated.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank.
Welcome back to the program. Before we move on, Timothy McGee says JUCO football. Appreciate the super chat, Timothy. All right, guys. Nico Iamaleava miscalculated. And here's why. Nico Iamaleava, if he had started this year for Tennessee in a potential draft year, I think Tennessee's going to be significantly better at receiver. Their interior of their offensive line looks really good. He had a chance to put up video game numbers at Tennessee this year. He could have gone to the NFL draft next year, gone early, and pocketed some guaranteed money as a first-round draft pick. And we're talking differences in the 5 to tens of millions of dollars. And Nico threw it all away over $1 to $1.5 million and maybe a little bit better development for the NFL. One, the development part for the NFL is a major miscalculation, because I just talked about the Lincoln Riley thing and how multiple quarterbacks from Lincoln Riley have gone to be first-year starters in the NFL. But more importantly than that, when you think financially, your money's guaranteed even if you don't start when you're on a rookie scale. So it depends on where you get drafted. So if Nico got drafted and had to sit a year to learn a system and relearn his tools playing quarterback, maybe even had to sit 2 years, that doesn't change his money. Okay. And an NFL team would obviously be willing to draft him very high, even if he has to be developed for a couple of years. So he threw away a potential $5 to $10 million just so he could be a little bit more NFL ready more quickly when he goes pro and make a little bit of extra money. By the way, on the NIL front, by the way, also, even if he is trying to develop for the NFL, wherever he would go to do that, he wouldn't be turned into a draft pick this year. I mean, there's just not enough time to learn a new playbook through August and then do what you need to do to turn into an NFL draft pick. Not to mention, there is the character issues where he kind of sabotaged himself somewhat. Those intangibles are going to come up when he's going to the NFL draft. To give you guys an example of misplaying your hand like this, I'm going to go to basketball real quick. We all saw The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and the whole story of Scottie Pippen was upset that the Bulls were not going to renegotiate his contract. So he tried to force a trade the last year he was on the Bulls. He did not get the surgery he needed in the offseason, so he missed the first 3 months of the regular season in the NBA that last year, rode the bench, and then tried to force a trade. The Bulls weren't going to budge. He finally came back. The Bulls won their 6th ring. Scottie was in his contract year. He got a big contract after that with the Rockets, and then went to Portland, and then finished his career with Chicago. Such a big contract that he actually ended up making more money than Michael Jordan on the court for his career. With that being the case, though, how much more do you think Scottie Pippen could have gotten if he didn't hold out the way he held out? If he didn't have himself miss 3 months due to injury? Doing what Scottie Pippen did brought up character concerns, brought up injury concerns with him, and the Bulls doing well without him also made people question his value to a certain degree. He probably, I think he got like a 5-year, $65 million deal, something like that. You guys can quote me on that. You guys can correct me on that. When he went to Houston, probably could have gotten 5 years, $90 million. I mean, he royally, I think, screwed that up. So taking that into account, you're not thinking all the different ways you have just brought red flags around yourself by doing this. This is a huge, huge mistake. And look, Nico Iamaleava, I hope you're listening. I get it. You're tied to your dad. But this is a big, big miscalculation. Okay? Even if you think that you're going to end up making the money that you need to make. Even if you think that you're going to go to where you need to go, this is a huge miscalculation on the front end. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't think he's getting the best advice, honestly. And the fact that Dan Lanning snitched on Nico to Tennessee shows that the coaching fraternity is honestly much more on Josh Heupel's side than Nico's side on this. And TJ Houshmandzadeh, by the way, I want to go back to that, tried to point out, like, went on a soapbox about NIL and the hypocrisy of coaches making $15 million and players making this or that. And that's a soapbox because nobody had a problem with Nico Iamaleava making money. Everybody has a problem with how this all played out. Okay? No one is saying the players shouldn't make the money. Everybody's advocated for that. Tennessee went to public war for Nico Iamaleava last year. The state sued the NCAA and won and shut down all guardrails of NIL on behalf of Nico Iamaleava, and it's now blown up in their face. So, look, this is a giant miscalculation on his end. I just don't know who's advising him. Besides his dad, but I don't know about the agent or anything like that. This is just a huge mistake, guys. Giant mistake. Nico absolutely miscalculated, and it could blow up in his face. Here's a lesson for kids out here. John Calipari used the quote, tripping over nickels in search of dollars. Don't let your NIL revenue get in the way of your potential NFL revenue. Okay? You are talking differences between $2 and $4 million that could sabotage a difference of $10 to $20 million. I mean, just think about that for a minute. Now, maybe you think getting better developed for the NFL is where you can get your long-term deal. So maybe they're thinking 3D chess or 4D chess and even more long-term. I think that's an agent getting in their ear, and there's an agent lying to you guys. That agent probably doesn't care what your NFL contract is because you're probably going to get a different agent for that. They're just trying to maximize your NIL money at the expense of your NFL future. So I'm telling you, this is a mistake in so many different ways. Don't be short-sighted like this, kids. The eyes on the prize. The prize is the NFL money. The prize is the NBA money. You get there, that dwarfs the money you're going to get at the NIL level, okay? Dwarfs it. There's no way, if you're a first-round draft pick, that you can make more at the NIL level than you could in the NFL level. And on top of that, you're delaying your going to the NFL by a year by doing this, Nico. So you're already sacrificing NFL revenue because I doubt you're going to be able to be an NFL first-round draft pick just based on where you go after this 1 year. So that's a mistake in so many different ways. Our poll question, where do you think Nico Iamaleava will land? USC, UCLA, UNC, somewhere else. 53 people have voted. 8% say USC, 40% say UCLA, 23% say North Carolina, and 30% say somewhere else. So it looks like a lot of you guys are thinking UCLA. It looks like 40% are thinking UCLA. I mean, this is big mistake on this in so many different ways for Nico Iamaleava. And I think that it's just a short-sighted move. And so, I mean, I just can't get past how short-sighted this was in so many different ways.